Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of The Weekly. This is your spot every Thursday to check out the latest trends and innovations we're seeing in the marketplace. This week's episode is brought to us by Women in Design and Construction. This is an online connected event for the most successful women in our industry. It's December 8th and 9th, and it's very personalized and interactive. It has roundtables, it has great speakers, and it also has a wine tasting. It's worth checking out. So let's get into today's episode. In our first segment, Camilla Watson and Dana Forfillo talk about diversity and inclusion. They're part of a group at their firm, and they have a 5-point plan. And let me tell you, when you hear the diversity numbers in our market, this is something we need.
It's a sad fact that of the 116,000 architects in this country, only about 2,300 are African Americans, and even fewer, only about 450 of those are Black women.
You know, it has to be intentional. You know, every firm recruits. We go out to the schools and we create these relationships. And we can't talk about the lack of diversity in our offices and continue to go to the same schools to create the same pipelines. You know, we have to really think about those relationships and how we're forming them. And so for ZGF, that started with connecting to the dean of architecture and a dean of construction of several different schools. And just recently, the last 2 or 3 years, we've been able to create that kind of relationship with Howard University in DC, as well as Tuskegee in Alabama. So that is not just about proximity. You know, we get students from all over the country. Let's now start looking at very specific programs that we feel are underrepresented. They may not come to us, but I think it's our responsibility to go to them.
In our middle segment today, we're going to talk to a firm that's been in the forefront of artificial intelligence. And they have a tool that allows you to inspect exteriors of buildings for deterioration and damage.
And it's down to the hairline fracture, right? I mean, stuff that you probably maybe couldn't even see visually. But this system is able to detect potential damage on building exterior, correct?
That's correct. That's the beauty of this. I mean, these algorithms are not like humans. I mean, they are trained by humans. Humans have annotated these images, and it works through supervised learning. You retrain it to detect what you want it to detect. But once you've trained it, it doesn't get tired, or it doesn't get bored. I mean, it shows the same efficacy on all types of images as the first image, as the 100,000th image, and so that's the beauty of it. I mean, so we've trained it on different types of materials, ranging from brick masonry, stucco, concrete, and so on. So it can detect hairline cracks depending on the resolution of the images, as well as large spalling, exposed rebar, efflorescence, and various other damage conditions.
So that brings us to the last segment of the day. And this is a real treat. Patrick Mclamey was at HOK for 50 years. The last 13, he was CEO. Patrick's going to share with us his idea of how do you design a world-class architecture firm.
First is, if you want to have a sustainable practice, you have to attract and keep good people. Give them a chance to get trained and to grow up in your firm and become more and more valuable as they learn and become more expert at what they do. And in order to attract and keep good people, that's the first principle, and it's the key, attract and keep good people. Second principle, in order to attract and keep people, in order to keep them, you need steady work. And steady work to Helmuth meant you had to have somebody devoted in leadership 100% of his time to marketing, backed up by a strong public relations effort. So Helmuth was, we think, one of the first partners in a firm to go full-time as a marketer. He did not design, he did not produce the work, he marketed. That was the second principle. The third principle was that each one of the partners needed to be a specialist instead of as his father and his uncle. If one of his father or his uncle brought the work in, then they designed it, and the other one supported. And and they fought like cats and dogs about it too, and they criticized each other's design work and so on. Helmut said, "Let's separate out the partners. Let's have one partner design, one partner that's really good at it, market, and one partner and responsible for production." And he said, if you do something every day, you get pretty good at it. So let's keep the partners separated and let them focus on their areas of specialty. And the fourth principle, which I think is the most interesting of all for Helmut, is this. He said, you have to diversify your practice. In the days when his firm was first starting, all the architects were busy designing schools because of the post-war baby boom. And he said, school work is going to run out. The baby boom will become, that bubble will pass. There won't be any more new schools, and we better learn how to design other buildings.
So that ends our segment for today. As always, we greatly appreciate you joining us. And we also greatly appreciate all of our guests. If you have any ideas of what you would like to see on the show, email me. Here's my email address. And if you'd like to see any of our past episodes, it's getting to be quite a library of stuff. You can see it on Horizon TV or on YouTube TV. So special shout out to our sponsor, Women in Design and Construction. We'd love for you to check out that conference. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Be safe, and thanks for joining us.